Hey Full Send family, this month's a little different. We're still looking at the book of Kings, but we're not looking so closely at the kings anymore. Now we're specifically looking at God. And this week we're going to talk about the one true God. In this week's passages, there are 4 people who declare the Lord is God, and we're going to look at each one in today's teaching. In our world, we have endless choices. We have options for what to believe and who to follow and what we value. But the Bible tells us when it comes to reality, there's no buffet of choices. There is only one throne, and there is only one king sitting on it, the one true God. In a world crowded with distractions and competing loyalties, Scripture offers us the resounding answer, there is no one like our God. And to understand, we're going to look at 4 witnesses in the book of Kings and discover what they saw about God's character. We begin with King Solomon. Imagine the scene in 1 Kings chapter 8. The temple, a beautiful marvel to behold, has just been built. But Solomon doesn't brag about the architecture. Instead, he falls on his knees before the altar and he looks to the sky and declares, Lord, the God of Israel, there is no one like you in heaven above or the earth below. To Solomon, the primary attribute of the one true God is faithful covenant keeper. Solomon lived in a world where pagan gods were thought to be temperamental and unpredictable, but the God of Israel is defined by his covenant of love. He's a God who remembers, and Solomon points to the 2 stone tablets in the Ark of the Covenant, pointing back to the promises made at Mount Horeb. Solomon's speech tells us that God's reality is proven by God's historical consistency. He's the God who speaks a promise with his own mouth, and then, through the years and human failings, he fulfills the promise with his own hand. But Solomon also wrestles with a profound mystery. How can a God so great live among us? He exclaims, the heavens, even the highest heavens, cannot contain you. How much more this temple I have built? Here's the majesty of the one true God. He's transcendent. He's beyond the limits of time and space, and yet he's immanent. He's present and active in his creation. God chooses to put his name in a specific place so that he might hear the pleas for mercy from his people. And he's not too big to listen, and he's never too far away to forgive. If Solomon teaches us of God's faithfulness, the prophet Elijah and King Hezekiah teach us of his absolute sovereignty. Think of Elijah in 1 Kings 18. He's standing before the corrupt King Ahab in a nation that has turned its back on the truth. Elijah doesn't start with a suggestion. He starts with an oath. As surely as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve. He's offering a direct challenge to false idols. Elijah's declaring that the one true God is not a statue of stone or a figment of someone's imagination. He is the living God. He is the Lord of hosts, the commander of heaven's armies. For Elijah, serving God wasn't a hobby. It was a life or death recognition of the authority that truly matters. Later, King Hezekiah faced a different kind of pressure, an invading army at his gates. In 2 Kings 19, he spreads his trouble out before the Lord, and Hezekiah prays, You alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Hezekiah's prayer reminds us that the one true God is creator. This is what sets him apart from the gods of the other nations. Those gods were made by human hands, but our God is the one who made the hands, who build the human kingdoms. He is sovereign over history, the one who sits enthroned between the cherubim, holding the destiny of every nation in the palm of his hand. Finally, we look at a witness from outside the house of Israel, Naaman the Syrian in 2 Kings chapter 5. Naaman was a man of power and prestige. He was also a man with leprosy. He came to Israel seeking a miracle, but he found something much greater. He found the truth. When Naaman was healed, his entire worldview collapsed and was rebuilt. He returned to the man of God and made a stunning announcement. Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. Notice he didn't say, now I know my God, your God's better than my God. He said there's no other God in all the world. This is the universality of the one true God. He's not a tribal deity. He's not a God who's restricted by borders or ethnicity or language. His healing touch reached a Syrian commander just as surely as it reached the heart of a Jewish king. Naaman's story teaches us that the one true God is the only divine reality for every human on earth. Whether people acknowledge him or not, God is the source of all life and all healing. So what's our response when we put all these together? Solomon's faithful covenant keeper, Elijah's living Lord, Hezekiah's creator, and Naaman's healer. What do we see? We see a God who's incomparable. We see a God who's big enough to rule the host of heavens, yet cares enough to hear a small whisper and defines himself by a covenant of love. As we go out today, let us carry the conviction of these witnesses. Let us serve the one who lives. Let us trust the one who keeps his promises. And let us worship the one who is God alone, for there truly is no other God in the heavens above or the earth below.